Hey, e-commerce 360 folks. Today we have Kerry Jamieson, founder of Kerikit Limited, which is a gorgeous, practical, multifunctional leather handbags and accessories store. Hey, Kerry, welcome to our show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
We are excited to have you here. So, Kerry, before we talk about the growth story, let us a bit into your backstory. How did you conceive this idea, and what was the eureka moment that you thought that okay, I'm going to get this pen done? So, what is the backstory?
So Kerikit is now 6 years old. I can't believe we've made it to 6 years. I'm very proud of myself that we've got this far. And as with most brands, I think they tend to come out of frustration or something that we see that is missing in the community or in the world. And for me, I was pregnant with my first child. I had always been in buying and fashion and liked nice things. And I went into a well-known retailer to look for a bag that I could use once I'd had a baby. And I was just really disappointed because the bags were really ugly, overpriced and terrible leather, not thought through, obviously not designed by a fellow mum to be or somebody that understood fashion and handbags. And I was really disappointed. And so I walked out with a disgusting ripstock grey messenger bag, just functional. There was nothing sexy about it at all, and was just really deflated. As a woman, I just thought, is this the best that we can do? Like, I'm having a baby, I'm not changing my entire identity here. This is difficult enough having a baby and leaving behind my career and things like that, and there's all these things going on in your head, and on top of that I can't even carry a nice handbag. Come on now. So I walked out and just bought this horrible bag, and then I got pregnant with twins, and I literally went back into the same store and thought, right, things must have changed. It's 20 months later. I just stood there against this wall thinking, gosh, this is so depressing. Like, I cannot believe this is all you're giving me as choice. And I think, as you said, that was my eureka moment. I was like, hang on a second. I have been a buyer of accessories for 7 years at TK Maxx. I have designed accessories and handbags for 20 years for most of the high street that you see today and have seen in the past, and for Europe and for China and for America. Maybe, just maybe, I was put on this planet to bring women like me beautiful bags that are not just a changing bag. We are a kit bag, and they are beautiful products that you can use for all of motherhood. Motherhood isn't just those first 12 months, you know, where they're pushing them around on the pram. You're a mum forever. And I just want you to feel empowered and sexy when you go out in the morning with something that you know is going to help save you time and keep you organized. And that was why Kerikit was born.
That's a brilliantly fascinating story. From your story, there's one more thing. I understand you had no prior experience in running any store. Of course, you had a bit of interest in fashion, and you knew what women were looking for, what you wanted, but you didn't have any prior experience in running a fashion store, leave alone, coming up with a website and then following up with metrics and having a payment gateway and all those. So, from the time you started your store till now, what has been the kind of trials and tribulations that you went through in getting the store to the revenue level it is at right now?
So I'd say I didn't invest correctly at the very beginning. Like you said, I had no idea what I was doing. I spoke to some people. We designed a website. We were using WooCommerce at the time. It was very clunky. I had a lot of development fees going on within it. So I was always asking the developer to come in and fix things. I couldn't run it myself. So I had no ability to bring that overhead down. And it was just this kind of beast, really, that was always taking up my time and my money. And it wasn't really achieving what I wanted it to achieve. So I used that for probably a couple of years, and I must have gone through 2 or 3 websites in the first couple of years. And if I'd just gone to the right person at the beginning and got expert advice at the beginning, and I think that's my takeaway to anybody that's listening, is if you don't know what you're doing, go get help. I spent so many years not getting help and thinking I could do it myself and getting the cheapest person in or this or that. And when I look back now, if I'd just done it properly at the start, I don't think I would have spent half as much money as I did getting it wrong 4 times. About 2 years ago, I think it was, I made the decision to move to Shopify. Now, it comes with its expenses because obviously you've got to pay for the apps that you download onto it. You've got to pay for your subscription. You've got to use their gateway. But what you get is this easy site that somebody who is perhaps not into coding their own websites like me can have it on their phone and really run their whole of their website if they need to off their phone, but equally be empowered to make changes that they need to when they need to. So I can change pretty much anything on the site myself, and that's just my time. So you can then balance as a new business whether you want to spend your time and how valuable your time is versus giving it to somebody else to do. So I have a developer that goes in and does other bits for me, but for me, that there are limitations with Shopify, but I think as a new business, it just provides you with such a cost-effective way of getting your products online.
Absolutely. Shopify is built for e-commerce businesses that are looking to take off. So let's talk a little bit about marketing. So how did you make your first sale? Was it in your mom's group? I'm sure you would have had some sort of a group of moms because you were a mom like twice. So you by then you would have had a lot, a huge network of moms. So was it through that, or did you build some sort of community in Facebook? Did you try selling it to them? And how did you go about making your first sale?
Gosh, my first sale, I remember it very well. I went to an event in London, in Olympia. It was a baby show, and I had absolutely no idea whether I was going to sell 100. It was just like, well, what if we sell out, and what if we do this, and what if we do that? So I hired a tail lift truck. I was boxing up these boxes going, well, I've put 4 in, I may as well put in 8. Well, I may as well put in 12. Well, I may as well put in 4 boxes because I had no idea what was going to happen. Drove 5 hours to London. I had these massive, great big display units that I'd been given for free. And at the time I was like, God, this is exactly what I was looking for. Beautiful backlit glass, big display cabinets with big kitchen units underneath. I'm so lucky to get them for free. And then I realized why they were free, because some other idiot had thought they were the perfect display cabinets until you had to get them to an event and set them up and like wheel them in on these great big sort of 6-foot trolleys. And it was a nightmare. So I think we sold that first weekend 6 units. And I came back, bearing in mind, I was totally unknown. We launched there, and my bags were Italian leather. They were they were incredibly expensive, I suppose, for a brand new brand that had no marketing behind it whatsoever. But we still sold bags, and I was like, okay, this is at least something. These people know me from nowhere and have just parted with £400 at a baby show. But my biggest learning, I would say, is I have now realised that I know how to design a bag. I can design a bag, manufacture a bag, import a bag with no problem. But selling a bag, the marketing side, I had absolutely no experience on. And I failed miserably, really, at the start, because I honestly thought if I design it, then people will find me and I will be able to sell the bags. It will be that easy. Like all I need is a website and then they will come. And that wasn't the case for me at all. And I guess one of the other challenges I made for myself was I didn't want to be a changing bag. I'm not a changing bag. So for keywords, SEO, and all the things that you need as a business to be found on some sort of platforms like Google, you need to have your keywords sorted. So it's been a real battle for me to wonder if I should just be a changing bag and then not have women that buy my bags right now want to buy them because they buy them because they're not a changing bag, but be found on Google. Or stick with the uses of social media to tell my story, but then not be found on Google. So it's a little bit of a challenge for me to know which is the right way to go. And for 6 years, I've really battled with not giving myself the name changing bag at all. And literally today, we are going through all of the website and we are making the title a very versatile title. So we are making the title a sentence that explains to you the versatility of the product so we can be found, but we don't alienate people who want to buy it as a work bag or a travel bag or things like that. So yeah, it's always a bit of a challenge. Yeah.
So how do you finally crack it? I mean, yeah, that's very, very interesting first sales story. So so moving on, 2 years or 3 years down the line, you will figure out what your acquisition channels are, all these fancy GTM, go to market, or your target market. So what is your acquisition channel, and how did you double down on your acquisition channel? eventually?
So we tried lots of different things. Facebook advertising was brilliant for a while. Google advertising is good if you are not on page one yourself because your website's
Mm-hmm.
not hasn't got the authority. Then
Yeah.
paying to get on page one is the second option that you have. We did Pinterest as well, and it's a kind of a case of trial and error to see where your audience are. We also created a Kit Girl group on Facebook. It's
Mm-hmm.
around 710 members, and they really are an amazing group of women who are very passionate about the brand. They do enable other people to buy. So if you go into the rabbit hole, then as they call it, you end up making purchases because everyone's so helpful in there and they're just showing you how great the bags work for all of
Amazing.
them. So for us, that's been a great thing. And then LinkedIn. Oh, sorry, we have a wasp in the water. And then LinkedIn to that, we created a reward scheme. So you can
Mm-hmm.
get into different levels and tiers based on
So,
how many purchases that you make, and
mm-hmm.
that's been great for keeping our
Yes.
customers and the loyalty that we get. And we do have the odd discount and things like that, but we're not really into discounting so much. We
Mm-hmm.
find that the rewards works really, really well, and I think we have like a 46% return rate. So
Wow.
we have, yeah, and I think we have less than a 3% return on products as well.
Mm-hmm.
So we know we make an amazing product, and we know when you get it, you're going to love it. And generally,
Mm-hmm.
we know that you're going to come back and buy more.
Let's talk a bit about the influences that you broached briefly, right? You talked about a network of people trying to, recommend your bags. Do you have any influencers, like, celebrity influencers who are out there trying to promote your bags, and how has that worked for your brand?
Yeah, influencers is a really tricky one. So we have an affiliate program, and we do have
Mm-hmm.
certain people on there, like Amy Willerton, who was Miss World. She's one of our affiliates. Talitha Minnis, she was a celebrity. She has, but then we have people who just buy the bag because they don't want to have to do that bit. So
Mm-hmm.
we have Pippa Middleton. She has one of our bags, and we've got one picture of her out and about with it. Stacey Solomon, Rochelle Humes, but those people have kind of come and bought the bag so that because
Mm-hmm.
they're usually under an agent's fee. So I find that the influencer market is very challenging, and sometimes I feel that the big influencers really expect an awful lot in return for you do a deal with them, you give them a bag, they say that they'll promote it for you, and then they do nothing. Whereas the micro
Mm-hmm.
influencers with only like between 2 and 10,000 followers often have really great engagement. They're much happy to work with you. The rule that we generally have is we don't work with anybody that's not had a Kerikit bag that they've bought themselves. So we don't work with anybody that just comes to us knocking on our door saying, "Oh, we love your
Yeah.
brand. Can we work with you?" Because you're not genuine. And I don't really want the feeling to be that people are promoting my products because they've been told to, or they're
Yeah.
making money off the back of it, because it's not
Mm-hmm.
authentic. Whereas if they
Mm-hmm.
are already a Kerikit customer and they're already promoting me, then we'll
Mm-hmm.
approach them and do them on an invite only basis.
Very interesting, very authentic. So let's talk a bit about metrics, right? So when did you start tracking your metrics? What kind of metrics do you track, and what are your North Star metrics?
Oh gosh, so I wasn't very good at tracking metrics. I'm not going to lie. I'm a designer, and we are more creative than we are the numbers.
Mhm.
But I realized about 3 years into the business that if I wasn't checking my metrics, I really had no idea what I was doing. So I check. Basically, Shopify is very good at giving you your analytics.
Yeah.
So that's a
Mhm.
very quick place to go and just get like a bird's eye view, top line. What's your bestseller? What are you
Mhm.
selling out of? We use our inventory system to know what we're selling, how much we've sold, what margins we've made on everything, which is
Mhm. Mhm.
helpful. On top of that, we have Google Analytics. So we have a system set up that will let us know where our customers have come from, what they've looked for, what the keywords are that they're looking for to find us. And then my accountant, my Zero accounting, which I use, that was the one I never used to look at, but now I'm literally in there the whole time, because if you're not keeping an eye on your overheads, they will overtake you, and you suddenly, we've grown year on year. I think we've doubled the business year on year since conception, but I'm
Wow.
quite happy to confess that we had an amazing year and a very bad year last year with COVID.
Yeah.
And whilst we doubled our business and our turnover was amazing, and I looked like it was super, super successful, my overheads had increased without me noticing, and we
Mhm.
hadn't actually made as much. So I think sometimes it's a bit of a fool's errand where you think the turnover means I'm successful, when actually it's profits. What's your gross profit? That's where your success really lies. And to understand that, you really need to be in those numbers the whole time.
Absolutely. And quick point about COVID, right? That kind of increased your acquisition cost generally overall for all e-commerce businesses with the Facebook ads cost going up, with a lot of privacy security policies that were stalling marketing activities. So let's quickly talk about retention. You mentioned 3% repeat purchase rate on overall products. How do you engage your audience for repeat purchase? What kind of strategies do you use, and how often do customers come back to get the bags?
So yeah, it's a 46% return rate on customers. So
Oh, 46%.
that's how many more of them come and buy once they've bought. And we have a
Wow.
3% return rate on refunds, like people who want to send things back. So it's
Okay,
very,
got
very
it.
low.
Uh-huh.
So generally it's just bringing out new products.
Mm-hmm.
So I will do IGTV, I will do YouTube videos.
Mm-hmm.
I actually in lockdown had a studio made. We had a container converted into an office space. So I now have a little showroom where I can literally grab, I was going to do it today, but it's like 45 degrees in there, so I couldn't go in there. And I can talk through the products and I can educate people on the leathers that we use. And it's really that journey. And I think that the reason people buy from me and come back is my quality is amazing. My price points are very, very reasonable for what you get. You are getting
Mm-hmm.
the best quality leather. It's the product that's been well thought through by a fellow mum who's also got
Mm-hmm.
25 years designing handbags. So generally people tend to come back because they get one and it's better than they were expecting, because I'm not in any stores. So my overheads can remain quite low that way, but also it's a shame because they can't see the products. So
Yeah.
this way is we can either do Zoom appointments if you're not local, or you can come up to the showroom. Now we had a visitor yesterday who came to the
Mm-hmm.
showroom, and it's funny,
Mm-hmm.
she picked a completely different bag than she thought she was going to pick once she saw
Mm-hmm.
it. So it's
Mm-hmm.
a challenge. It's always a challenge to get the quality across on a website. That's always been a challenge
Yeah.
for me. But we have found solutions that you can do to sort of make it work. But generally, bringing out new products, standing there and saying, guys, what do you think about this? This is new for spring summer 22. And then they all scream at me and go crazy. One thing that's really nice that we've done as well in the Kit Girl Club is this is going live today, by the way. So this is a completely
Wow.
new secret thing. Your
Mm-hmm.
top is the most fashionable color of the moment, matching my
Uh-huh.
leather swatch right here. And
Ah.
this is not a color I would do. My colors generally are very muted. This is the
Mm-hmm.
first bright color I'm doing next season.
Awesome.
But we are going to do a custom. So our Kit Girl community, no one else will know about this. No one else gets access to this. We will be doing a custom color for them this season, which is this color.
Awesome. Mm-hmm.
And they then feel so excited and included and in part of a magical community where they have driven that decision.
Mm-hmm.
I have sort of supported them in letting that happen, and what they get is a
Awesome.
limited edition piece that no one else will have, that you will never find on my website. And so that's kind of a really nice way of making my community feel part of my decision making, is I think part of the magic of my brand.
Absolutely, making them feeling special, right? That's about all about it. So
Yeah.
let's talk about the future of Kerikit. You guys seem to be on hyper growth mode. What kind of future are you envisioning? Are you envisioning a future where you're going to include a lot more designs for your bags, or are you going to expand the product line? Or are you going to expand the geographies? What kind of vision are you looking at for Kerikit?
I think at the moment, if we expand anything, it will be more the territories that we're in, and perhaps look at
Mm-hmm.
doing bricks and mortar. I've always shied away from it really, because we were in Nordstrom, we were in America, we
Mm-hmm.
had a fulfillment center in America, and I was
Wow.
in this like big growth. We went to the Shanghai fair, we had the
Mm-hmm.
Chinese were really keen to get Kerikit, and I was talking to agencies. And then I suddenly thought, Kerry, it's you. Like, it's just you and a couple of assistants helping you at that time. Like, how are you going to do this? How are you going to do this massive growth? And the cost to do the growth, the cost to break into China is hundreds of
Mm-hmm.
thousands of pounds. So I kind of backtracked a little bit from that and went very insular and thought, right, we'll just be online only. That way,
Mm-hmm.
the margin is only for me. I can keep the prices lower, use the best quality leather, and just basically create a product however I want it to be. I don't have to think about it. Does it fit to the margins needed by John Lewis? None of that was important. And also with lockdown, I was very lucky because I got to know my community, and because I had already created this private group, once lockdown happened, I was already front of house. I was already communicating with my community, and lots of my competitors, I think, floundered because suddenly the stores didn't take their orders. They didn't have a clue how they were supposed to run things other than posting a picture and sending to buyers in Harrods. So it really was a win for me at that point. But I think now I've grown a little more. I'm at that point now where I'm considering the right people might be worth collaborating with to allow Kerikit to be in certain stores so that you can go and see them before you make a purchase. That's kind of an option for me. But I'm keen to grow, but I've learned to I'm not very slow. I'm very pacey. I want everything to be like this next step. And I'm learning now, I'm in my mid-40s, that actually you don't need to be in such a hurry. You know, I bring out so many things because I want to design that I think it can overface the customer, and they're looking like, oh my god, I want the bag in all 5 colors, what am I going to do? Whereas I really brought out 3 colors, the cost to do the photography, the cost for the photo shoots, everything would be less, and I would be able to have more longevity with the product. I'm so excited to design something new every season. It's always very exciting because there's always a new product that comes to the market.
That's amazing. So as a parting advice, what would be yours for upcoming mompreneurs or entrepreneurs or e-commerce business owners? What would be? How do you envision that?
Yeah, as I said at the beginning, you know, if you're not sure, get advice, get support, go and get a mentor, find somebody that has done it before, that can guide you through. Because as much as people say it's okay to make mistakes, they're learnings. Don't make them if you don't have to. At the end of the day, the learnings or the mistakes are going to cost your business money. So if you can avoid those and somebody else has been there and done it, then listen to them, listen to podcasts, listen to the experts. There's books, there's so many self-help things that you can do yourself to educate yourself. But equally, if you don't know it, get somebody else in. And you know, if you're a luxury brand, graphics is really important. Don't just try and do them all yourself. But equally, there is so much you can do on certain things like Canva. You know, Canva makes Photoshop archaic because you can get virtually everything you want out of certain things like that. And I have full-time virtual assistants, so they are totally part of my business. This was before lockdown, and now it seems like it's normal to work remotely with people. You don't need to be in an office. But when I started working with my virtual assistants, that was before that really happened. And you know, I'm supporting a single mum of two, who's really struggling right now, who's in permanent lockdown in Jamaica and is financially doing okay because of me. So there's part of it is like, you know, it's a shame you're not employing people in the UK, but equally I'm supporting somebody else that really needs to be supported right now, who is a mother just like me. So it's also a very cost-effective way of starting out. Until you want to have people on your own payroll, having freelancers means you can switch it on, switch it off, use them as much as you want to. So again, your overheads are in your control.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Kerry, for the wonderful interview. And it was a pleasure having you on. And I'm still reeling from the excitement of the energy that you had dissipated in this podcast. It was so wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. I've really enjoyed it.